The thing about being married to someone who performs for strangers is that you become the unwilling audience to your own humiliation. Every damn time. I'm sitting across from my wife Emily at Romano's, this little Italian place downtown that used to be our spot. Used to be the place where we'd talk about our dreams, our future, our plans. Now it's become another stage for her twisted show, and I'm the fool who keeps buying tickets. She's doing it again. That slow, deliberate lean toward the table next to us where two guys in expensive suits are nursing their whiskey. Her laugh is different when she's performing. Lower, breathier, designed to pull attention like a fishing line. She tosses her auburn hair over her shoulder and makes some comment about the wine list loud enough for them to hear. "The Chianti here is incredible," she says, not to me, but to the air between our table and theirs. "My husband and I come here all the time, don't we, David?" The way she says husband makes it sound like a burden she's carrying, not a choice she made. The guys look over, and one of them, tall, probably mid-30s with that gym-sculpted confidence, takes the bait. "Good to know," he says, flashing a smile that's all teeth and intention. "We're new to the area. Any other recommendations?" And there it is. The door she's opened, the invitation she's extended. I watch her face light up like Christmas morning as she launches into her routine. She recommends the seafood place by the harbor, mentions the jazz club on 5th Street, describes the hiking trails like she's a tour guide instead of a married woman on a date with her husband. I stare at my chicken parmesan and wonder when exactly I became invisible. This isn't new. It's been building for months, maybe longer. Every restaurant, every bar, every social gathering becomes an opportunity for Emily to collect attention like she's hoarding it for winter. She flirts with waiters, bartenders, random strangers in line at the coffee shop. She touches arms, holds eye contact, laughs at jokes that aren't funny. And she watches me while she does it. That's the part that cuts deepest. She wants me to see. She wants me to react. My discomfort is part of the show, another layer of her performance. "David works in construction," she's telling the guys now, and the way she says it makes my job sound like something she scraped off her shoe. He builds things with his hands. Very traditional. Traditional, like it's a disease. I'm a project manager for Henderson Construction, one of the biggest firms in New England. I coordinate million-dollar developments, manage teams of 50 people, solve problems that would make these suit-wearing pretty boys cry into their overpriced whiskey. But Emily makes it sound like I dig ditches for a living. "That's honest work," the tall guy says, but his tone suggests he thinks honest work is for honest suckers. "Oh, David's very honest," Emily replies, and there's something sharp in her voice, sometimes brutally so. The conversation continues without me. Emily talks about her work at the architectural firm, mentions her recent promotion, drops hints about the expensive projects she's designing. She's building herself up while tearing me down, and these strangers are eating it up. I think about the flowers I brought her last Tuesday. Roses from the shop on Maple Street because she mentioned liking them once, 3 years ago. I think about the chocolate I left on her desk when she had that difficult client meeting. I think about all the small gestures, the thoughtful surprises, the ways I've tried to show her she matters. None of it seems to matter now. "Excuse me," I say, standing up. "I need some air." Emily doesn't even look at me. "Take your time," she says sweetly, then immediately turns back to her new audience. Outside, the October air bites at my face. Castle Heights is one of those New England towns that looks perfect in the fall, all golden leaves and historic brick buildings, but feels hollow underneath, like a movie set, with nothing behind the facades. I lean against my truck, a 10-year-old Ford that runs like a dream because I maintain it myself, and try to figure out when my marriage became a spectator sport. When did loving Emily become something I had to compete for with every random stranger who crossed her path? My phone buzzes. Text from my old boxing coach, Frank. "You coming to the gym tonight, or you got better things to do?" I type back, "Depends if I'm still married by morning." Frank responds immediately. "That bad, huh?" "Getting worse." "Come hit something. Better than hitting someone." Frank's gym is a throwback to when boxing was about heart instead of money. Cracked mirrors, heavy bags held together with duct tape, the smell of sweat and determination soaked into every surface. It's where I learned that sometimes you have to take a hit to land one. I'm considering Frank's invitation when Emily appears in the doorway of Romano's. She's laughing, exchanging numbers with the tall guy while his friend watches like he's witnessing a masterclass in manipulation. She walks over to me with that satisfied glow she gets after a successful performance. "Ready to go?" she asks like nothing happened. "You get what you needed in there?" What's that supposed to mean? The attention, the validation, whatever it is you're collecting from strangers these days? Her expression shifts, becomes defensive. I was being friendly, David. It's called social skills. Maybe you should try it sometime. Social skills don't usually involve flirting with married women. Flirting? She laughs, but it's not the warm sound she gave those strangers. This laugh is cold, calculated. You think that was flirting? God, David, you really are insecure. Insecure. The word she uses whenever I call her out, like my discomfort is a character flaw instead of a reasonable response to unreasonable behavior. I'm not insecure, Emily. I'm married. There's a difference. Barely, she mutters, but loud enough for me to hear. We drive home in silence. Our house is a colonial I've been renovating for 3 years, turning it from a fixer-upper into something beautiful, something worthy of the life I thought we were building together. Now it feels like a museum dedicated to my own stupidity. That night, Emily goes to bed without saying goodnight. I stay up working on the kitchen cabinets, sanding and staining until my hands are raw and my mind is quiet. Working with wood is honest. You measure twice, cut once, and if you mess up, it's your fault. No games, no hidden meanings, no performance required. Around midnight, I hear Emily on the phone in the bedroom. Her voice is low, intimate, the same tone she used with those strangers at dinner. I can't make out the words, but I don't need to. I know that voice. I used to be the only one who heard it. I spend the night on the couch, staring at the ceiling and wondering when I became a stranger in my own marriage. The next few weeks blur together like a fever dream. Emily's behavior escalates, becomes more brazen, more deliberate. She flirts with the mailman, the grocery store clerk, the guy who delivers our pizza. She joins a gym and comes home talking about her workout partner, Marcus, how strong he is, how he's helping her with her form. I start documenting everything. Not because I'm planning anything yet, but because I need proof that I'm not going crazy. Screenshots of her social media posts, photos of her coming home late, receipts from restaurants I never went to. The breaking point comes on a Friday night at the Harbor Club, this upscale bar downtown where Emily's architecture firm holds their monthly networking events. She insists I come along, says it's important for her career that I make an appearance. I should have known it was a trap. The place is packed with Castle Heights professional class. Lawyers, doctors, business owners, all the people Emily wishes we were. She introduces me around like I'm a charity case she's temporarily sponsoring. This is my husband, David, she says to a group of her colleagues. He's in construction. Very blue-collar, very authentic. Authentic. Like I'm a piece of rustic furniture she picked up at a flea market. The conversation moves on without me. Emily talks about sustainable architecture and urban planning while I stand there like a prop in her performance. When someone asks about my work, she answers for me. David builds things, she says with a patronizing smile. It's very physical work. He comes home exhausted most nights. The implication hangs in the air like smoke. Too tired for his wife, too simple for complex conversations, too ordinary for someone as extraordinary as Emily. I excuse myself to the bar, order a beer, and watch my wife work the room. She's in her element here, surrounded by people who appreciate her intelligence, her ambition, her carefully crafted image, and for a moment, I remember why I fell in love with her. Emily was different when we met. Driven, yes, but not cruel. Ambitious, but not at my expense. She used to talk about building a life together, not building a life despite me. You look like a man who needs stronger medicine than beer. I turned to find a woman about my age, blonde, professional, holding a martini like she knows how to use it. Her name tag reads Jennifer Walsh, Walsh & Associates Law Firm. Bad day or bad marriage? She asks with a knowing smile. Is it that obvious? Honey, I've been divorced twice. I can spot marital misery from across a crowded room. She nods toward Emily, who's now laughing with a group that includes her boss, Richard Morrison. Richard's in his 50s, silver-haired, the kind of man who wears success like expensive cologne. Emily's touching his arm while she talks, her body language screaming availability. That's your wife? Jennifer asks. For now. Pretty girl, seems social. That's one word for it. Jennifer studies me with the calculating gaze of someone who makes a living reading people. You know what your problem is? I'm sure you're going to tell me. You're playing defense in a game where she's already decided to cheat. Before I can respond, Emily appears beside us like she materialized from thin air. Her smile is bright and sharp as a knife. David, I see you've met Jennifer. Jennifer, this is my husband I was telling you about. All good things, I hope, Jennifer says smoothly. Oh, absolutely. David's very steady, very reliable. Some women need excitement, adventure, passion. I need someone who'll be there when I get home. The insult is wrapped in a compliment, delivered with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Jennifer's eyebrows rise slightly, and I can see her lawyer brain processing the subtext. Well, Jennifer says, reliability is underrated these days. Most people don't know a good thing when they have it. Emily's smile falters for just a moment. Oh, I know exactly what I have. The conversation continues, but I'm not really listening. I'm watching Emily perform, seeing her through Jennifer's eyes, a woman so desperate for attention that she'll humiliate her own husband to get it. Later, after Emily's had 3 glasses of wine and charmed half the room, we end up at a table with Richard Morrison and his wife, Claire. Claire's quiet, elegant, the kind of woman who speaks softly because she knows people will listen. Emily, on the other hand, is getting louder by the minute. Richard's been such a mentor, she gushes, her hand resting on his forearm. He's taught me so much about the business, about life, really. Richard smiles indulgently. Emily's incredibly talented. We're lucky to have her at the firm. She works so hard, I say, mostly to see how they'll react. Late nights, weekend calls, very dedicated. Passion projects require passion, Emily says, looking directly at Richard. Some people understand that better than others. Claire Morrison's expression doesn't change, but something shifts behind her eyes. She's been watching this dance longer than I have, recognizing the steps. How long have you two been married? Claire asks quietly. 5 years, Emily answers. 5 long years. The word long hits like a slap. 5 years of building a life together, and she makes it sound like a prison sentence. David and I are very different people, Emily continues, apparently determined to dig this hole deeper. He's content with simple things, simple life, simple pleasures. I need more. More what? I ask, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. More everything. More challenge, more excitement, more intellectual stimulation. More attention from other men. The table goes quiet. Richard clears his throat. Claire studies her wine glass like it contains the secrets of the universe. Emily's face flushes, but whether from embarrassment or anger, I can't tell. David has a very traditional view of marriage, she says finally. He thinks I should be content being his little housewife. But I have ambitions, goals, dreams that extend beyond domestic bliss. I've never asked you to give up your career. Haven't you? Every time you complain about my networking events, my business dinners, my professional relationships, you're asking me to make myself smaller, to dim my light so you feel better about yourself. Professional relationships, is that what we're calling it now? I'm asking you to remember you have a husband, to show some respect for our marriage when you're out collecting phone numbers from strangers. Emily's laugh is sharp and bitter. Phone numbers? God, David, you make it sound like I'm some kind of what? She doesn't answer, but her silence says everything. The evening ends badly. Emily spends the drive home lecturing me about my jealousy, my insecurity, my inability to support her professional growth. According to her, every concern I've raised is actually a reflection of my own inadequacy. You're threatened by successful men, she says as we pull into our driveway. You see me talking to Richard or networking with clients, and instead of being proud, you get paranoid. I get concerned when my wife flirts with other men in public. Flirts? She turns to face me, her eyes blazing. You think everything is flirting? You think being friendly is flirting? You think professional courtesy is flirting? Maybe the problem isn't my behavior, David. Maybe the problem is your perception. We're in the house now, standing in the kitchen I've spent months perfecting. The irony isn't lost on me, arguing about the foundation of our marriage in the room where I've literally rebuilt the foundation of our home. My perception, I repeat slowly. So when you touch other men, when you laugh at their jokes, when you give them your number, when you stay out until midnight on business dinners, and that's all in my head, you're being ridiculous. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're shopping for my replacement while I'm still here. Emily's expression shifts, becomes calculating. She's quiet for a long moment, studying me like I'm a problem she needs to solve. You know what, David? You're right. I do enjoy the company of interesting, ambitious, successful men. I enjoy conversations that challenge me, that inspire me, that make me feel alive. And if that threatens you, if that makes you uncomfortable, if you don't like it... She pauses, her smile cold and final. The door's right there. You can leave. Something settles in my chest. Not anger, not hurt. Clarity. I look at my wife, really look at her, and see a stranger. Someone who's been wearing Emily's face while slowly poisoning everything we built together. Someone who just gave me permission to walk away from 5 years of trying to love someone who sees that love as weakness. I stand up, place my napkin on the counter, and nod once. All right, I say quietly. I'm leaving. I don't go far that night. Just to Frank's gym, where the heavy bags don't ask questions, and the only performance that matters is how hard you can hit without breaking your hand. Frank's there despite the late hour, cleaning equipment and pretending not to notice when I walk in looking like I've been hit by a truck. Rough night? He asks, tossing me a pair of gloves. Getting divorced. About damn time. Frank's been married to the same woman for 37 years. He knows what a good marriage looks like, and he's been watching mine crumble for months. No judgment, no advice, just the quiet understanding of a man who's seen enough fights to know when someone's beaten. I spend 2 hours working the bags until my shoulders burn and my mind goes quiet. By the time I'm done, I know what I have to do. Then Saturday morning, I call Jennifer Walsh. I was wondering when you'd reach out, she says when I identify myself. Coffee or straight to business? Business. How fast can you move on a divorce? Depends how complicated you want to make it. Assets, kids, contested versus uncontested. No kids. House is in my name. Bought it before we married. Most of the assets are mine. She's got her car, her clothes, her job. Sounds straightforward. What's your timeline? Yesterday. Jennifer laughs, but is not unkind. I like a man who knows what he wants. Can you be at my office Monday morning? I'll be there. Sunday is strange. Emily acts like Friday night never happened, chattering about her plans for the week, her upcoming projects, the dinner party Richard Morrison is hosting next weekend. She assumes I'll apologize, that I'll come crawling back like I always do. Instead, I spend the day documenting everything, bank statements, property records, photos of the house, and all the improvements I've made. I screenshot her social media posts, including the ones from Friday night where she's posing with Richard Morrison and his colleagues, looking like she's auditioning for the role of his next wife. Monday morning, Jennifer's office is everything you'd expect from a successful divorce attorney. Expensive furniture, law books, framed degrees, and a view of the harbor that probably costs more per month than most people make. So, she says, settling behind her desk with a legal pad and a predatory smile, tell me about Emily. I tell her everything. The flirting, the humiliation, the gradual erosion of respect and intimacy, the late nights, the mysterious phone calls, the way she talks about me in public like I'm something she's ashamed of. Jennifer takes notes, asks questions, nods at all the right moments. When I finish, she leans back in her chair and studies me. You know what I don't understand, she says. What? Why you waited so long? I kept thinking it would get better, that she'd remember what we had. David, can I be frank with you? Please. Your wife is already gone. She's been gone for months, maybe longer. She's just been too comfortable to make it official. You filing for divorce isn't ending your marriage. You're just acknowledging that it's already over. The paperwork takes 3 hours. Jennifer's thorough, explaining every document, every clause, every potential complication. By the time we're done, I feel like I've been through surgery. Painful, but necessary. When do you want to serve her? Jennifer asks. Tonight, at home. You sure you don't want to wait? Give yourself time to think about it? I've been thinking about it for months. I'm done thinking. That evening, I sit at our kitchen table with Jennifer and the divorce papers, waiting for Emily to come home. She's late, of course. Probably out networking, building professional relationships, collecting attention from men who don't know her well enough to see through the performance. When she finally walks in at 9:30, she stops short at the sight of Jennifer sitting at our table. David, what's going on? Emily, this is Jennifer Walsh, my attorney. Jennifer, my wife Emily. Emily's face goes through several expressions: confusion, recognition, understanding, and finally panic. Your attorney? David, what? You told me the door was open if I didn't like the way things were going, I say calmly. So I walked through it. Jennifer slides the papers across the table. Mrs. Henderson, you're being served with divorce papers. You have 30 days to respond. Emily stares at the documents like they're written in a foreign language. This is insane. David, we had a fight. Married people fight. That doesn't mean... It wasn't a fight, Emily. It was you telling me exactly how you feel about our marriage. I finally listened. You can't be serious. Dead serious. You wanted to know what life without me looks like? Now you get to find out. The next hour is ugly. Emily cycles through anger, denial, bargaining, and back to anger. She accuses me of being vindictive, of overreacting, of throwing away 5 years over nothing. Nothing? I ask. You call humiliating me in public nothing? You call flirting with other men in front of me nothing? You call telling me to leave nothing? I didn't mean it. Yes, you did. You meant every word. And you know what? You were right. I should leave. I should have left months ago. Jennifer packs up her briefcase and heads for the door. Mrs. Henderson, I strongly recommend you get your own attorney. This can be amicable or it can be ugly, but it's happening either way. After Jennifer leaves, Emily tries a different approach. Tears, apologies, promises to change. She says she loves me, that she was just going through a phase, that she never meant to hurt me. I know you love me, I tell her, but you love the attention more. You love the validation, the performance, the thrill of making other men want you, and you love knowing that I'll be here waiting when you're done playing. That's not true, isn't it? When's the last time you chose me, Emily? When's the last time you picked our marriage over your ego? She can't answer because there isn't an answer. Every choice she's made for months has been about her image, her career, her need for constant validation. Our marriage has been the price she's paid for admission to a world that sees her as special. I need you to pack a bag, I tell her. You can stay at your sister's or get a hotel, but you can't stay here. This is my house too. No, it's not. I bought it before we married. I've spent 3 years renovating it. Check the deed, only my name is on it. The realization hits her like a physical blow. All this time, she's been living in my house, spending my money, building her career while I supported her dreams. And now those dreams don't include me. David, please. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. We're past counseling, Emily. You can't counsel someone into respecting their marriage. You can't therapy your way out of choosing other people over your spouse. She packs a bag with shaking hands, tears streaming down her face. Part of me feels sorry for her, but it's a small part. The larger part feels relief, like a weight I didn't realize I was carrying has finally been lifted. At the door, she turns back one last time. You'll regret this, David. You'll realize what you lost and come crawling back, but it'll be too late. Maybe, I say, but I'd rather regret leaving than regret staying. After she's gone, I pour myself a beer and sit in my kitchen, surrounded by the silence of my own home. For the first time in months, I don't feel like I'm performing for anyone. I don't feel like I'm competing for attention or walking on eggshells or trying to love someone who sees that love as a burden. I feel free. The next few weeks pass in a blur of legal meetings, paperwork, and the strange adjustment of living alone again. Emily stays with her sister Lisa, a woman who's never liked me and makes no secret of believing I'm the villain in this story. Lisa calls me 3 days after Emily moves out. You're making a huge mistake, she says without preamble. Hello to you too, Lisa. Emily is devastated. She's barely eating, barely sleeping. She loves you, David. She has a funny way of showing it. Marriage is work. You don't just give up when things get difficult. I didn't give up when things got difficult. I gave up when my wife told me to leave. She didn't mean it. She meant it. And you know what? She was right. I should have left months ago. Lisa launches into a lecture about commitment, about forgiveness, about how Emily is going through a difficult time at work and needs support, not abandonment. According to Lisa, every problem in our marriage is my fault for being too sensitive, too jealous, too unwilling to give Emily the space she needs to grow. Space to grow, I repeat. Is that what we're calling it? Emily is a brilliant, ambitious woman. She needs intellectual stimulation, professional challenges. She needs attention from other men. You're being ridiculous. Am I? Ask her about Richard Morrison. Ask her about the late-night phone calls, the weekend business trips, the way she lights up when he's around. The line goes quiet for a moment. Even if that were true, Lisa says finally, marriage is about forgiveness, about working through problems together. Marriage is also about respect, about loyalty, about not humiliating your spouse in public. Emily chose her career over our marriage every single time. I'm just acknowledging what she already decided. I hang up before she can respond. The calls don't stop there. Emily's parents reach out, her friends from college, even some of our mutual acquaintances. They all have the same message. I'm being unreasonable. I'm throwing away a good marriage. Emily made a mistake, but she's sorry. None of them ask about my side of the story. None of them seem to care that I spent months trying to save a marriage while my wife was actively sabotaging it. In their version of events, I'm the bad guy for refusing to tolerate being treated like garbage in my own marriage. The breaking point comes when Tom Bradley calls. Tom used to be my best friend. We played poker together, watched games, worked on cars in his garage. Our wives were friends, our families spent holidays together. But somewhere along the line, Tom started seeing me through Emily's eyes, as the insecure husband who couldn't handle having a successful wife. This is insane, David, he says. You're destroying your marriage over nothing. Nothing? You think what Emily's been doing is nothing? She's networking. She's building her career. Just because she talks to other men doesn't mean she's cheating. It's not about talking to other men. It's about how she talks to them, how she touches them, how she flirts with them while I'm sitting right there. You're being paranoid. Am I? Were you there at the Harbor Club when she basically auditioned to be Richard Morrison's next wife? Were you there when she told me to leave if I didn't like her behavior? People say things when they're angry. She wasn't angry, Tom. She was cold, calculated. She's been planning this for months, and I was too stupid to see it. Tom sighs heavily. Look, man, I know you're hurt. But divorce, that's nuclear. That's burning everything down over a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding when your wife tells you she enjoys the company of other men more than yours. It's not a misunderstanding when she humiliates you in public and then tells you to leave if you don't like it. Emily's a good woman. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Every day for months, she chose her ego over our marriage. She chose attention from strangers over respect for her husband. She chose everything and everyone except me. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but I'll regret staying even more. Tom hangs up, and I realize I've lost more than just my wife. I've lost the friends who see me as the problem, who think I should be grateful for whatever scraps of attention Emily throws my way. But I've also gained something. Clarity. 2 weeks later, Jennifer calls with news. Emily hired Marcus Webb, she says. He's good, but he's expensive. Where's she getting the money? Probably from Richard Morrison. Her boss is paying for her divorce attorney? Her boss is probably hoping to be her next husband. Jennifer is quiet for a moment. David, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. Okay. Do you think Emily was having an affair? I've been avoiding this question, even in my own mind. Admitting that Emily was cheating means admitting that I was a fool, that I ignored obvious signs, that I wasted months trying to save a marriage that was already over. But the evidence is mounting. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the way she talks about Richard, the fact that he's paying for her lawyer. Yeah, I say finally. I think she was. Can you prove it? Not yet, but I'm working on it. That night, I drive past Richard Morrison's downtown condo. Emily's car is parked in the guest spot. It's 10:30 on a Wednesday night, and she's at her boss's apartment, supposedly discussing work. I take photos, document the time and date, and drive home feeling sick to my stomach. Not because I'm surprised, but because I'm not. The next morning, I call a private investigator Jennifer recommended. His name is Mike Torres, and he specializes in matrimonial cases. How long do you think this has been going on? He asks after I explain the situation. Months, maybe longer. And you want proof? I want evidence. Photos, recordings, documentation. I want to know exactly what my wife has been doing while I've been trying to save our marriage. Mike is thorough and professional. Within a week, he has photos of Emily entering and leaving Richard's condo at all hours, recordings of intimate phone conversations, evidence of romantic dinners and weekend getaways. The affair has been going on for 6 months. 6 months of lies, gaslighting, and manipulation while I blamed myself for the problems in our marriage. But the worst part isn't the cheating, it's the cruelty. In one recorded conversation, Emily laughs about my attempts to save our marriage, calling me pathetic and desperate. She tells Richard that I'm too stupid to realize what's happening, too weak to do anything about it, even if I did. He actually brought me flowers last week, she says, her voice dripping with contempt. Like that would fix anything. Like romance could compete with what we have. What do we have? Richard asks. Everything he can't give me. Intelligence, ambition, passion, a real future instead of this small-town, blue-collar fantasy he's been living. When are you going to tell him? I don't have to. He'll figure it out eventually or he won't. Either way, I'm done pretending to be happy with mediocrity. I listen to the recording 3 times before I can process what I'm hearing. This isn't just about an affair. This is about 6 months of deliberate emotional abuse, of making me question my own sanity while she planned her exit strategy. But Emily made one crucial mistake. She assumed I was too weak, too stupid, too desperate to fight back. She was wrong. Armed with Mike's evidence, Jennifer and I craft our response. It's not just about the divorce anymore. It's about making sure Emily and Richard understand that actions have consequences. We can use the affair to invalidate any claims she might have on your assets, Jennifer explains. Adultery affects spousal support, property division, everything. What about Richard? What about him? He's been interfering in my marriage for 6 months. There have to be consequences for that, too. Jennifer smiles, and it's not a nice smile. Alienation of affection is still a valid claim in this state. We can sue him for damages. How much damage? Depends how vindictive you want to be. I think about 6 months of gaslighting, of being made to feel crazy for noticing what was happening in my own marriage. I think about Emily laughing at my attempts to save our relationship while she was planning her escape with another man. Very vindictive. The first shot is fired on a Monday morning. Jennifer serves Richard Morrison with papers at his office, in front of his employees and clients. Alienation of affection, intentional infliction of emotional distress, interference with marriage. The lawsuit asks for $2 million in damages. By noon, the news has spread through Castle Heights' professional community like wildfire. Richard Morrison, respected architect and pillar of the community, is being sued for stealing another man's wife. The second shot comes that afternoon. Jennifer releases selected portions of Mike's evidence to the press. Photos of Emily and Richard together, excerpts from their recorded conversations, documentation of their affair. The local newspaper runs the story under the headline, "Prominent Architect Sued for Affair with Employee's Wife." Emily calls me that evening, screaming, "How could you do this? You've ruined everything." I didn't do anything, Emily. You did this. You and Richard. Those recordings are illegal. Actually, they're not. Single-party consent state. As long as one person in the conversation agrees to the recording, it's perfectly legal. You're destroying my career. Your career? Emily, hey, or you've been sleeping with your married boss for 6 months. You destroyed your own career. Richard's going to lose everything because of you. Richard's going to lose everything because of Richard. Actions have consequences, Emily. You're both about to learn that. The fallout is swift and brutal. Richard's wife files for divorce within 48 hours. The architecture firm's board of directors launches an investigation into his conduct. Several major clients pull their projects, citing concerns about the firm's leadership. Emily is placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Her professional reputation, the thing she valued more than our marriage, is in ruins. But I'm not done yet. Mike's investigation uncovered something else. Richard has been embezzling money from the firm to fund his lifestyle and his affair with Emily. Expensive dinners, weekend trips, jewelry, all paid for with money stolen from his business partners. Jennifer turns this evidence over to the district attorney's office. Within a week, Richard is arrested for embezzlement and fraud. The local news covers his perp walk, showing him in handcuffs being let out of his office while reporters shout questions about his affair and his financial crimes. Emily calls me again, this time crying instead of screaming. "David, please, you have to stop this. Richard's in jail. They're saying he might go to prison." "That's not my problem, Emily. He didn't do anything wrong. He stole money from his business partners to pay for your affair. He interfered in our marriage for 6 months. He destroyed 2 families for his own selfish pleasure. What part of that isn't wrong? I love him. You love the idea of him. You love what he represented, success, status, escape from your boring blue-collar husband, but you don't really know him, Emily. If you did, you'd have known he was a thief. This is all your fault. No, this is all your fault. You made the choice to have an affair. You made the choice to humiliate me. You made the choice to tell me to leave. I'm just making sure you live with the consequences of those choices." The divorce is finalized 6 weeks later. Emily gets nothing. No alimony, no property settlement, no assets. The adultery clause voids any claims she might have had. Richard pleads guilty to embezzlement and gets 3 years in prison. His wife takes half of everything in their divorce, leaving him broke and disgraced. Emily moves back in with her parents, her career in ruins, her reputation destroyed, her future with Richard evaporated. But the story doesn't end there. 3 months after the divorce is finalized, I get a call from Claire Morrison, Richard's ex-wife. "I wanted to thank you," she says. "For what?" "For having the courage to fight back. I knew about Richard's affairs for years, but I never had the strength to do anything about it. Watching you stand up to him, and Emily gave me the courage to finally leave." We meet for coffee, 2 survivors of the same shipwreck. Claire is elegant, intelligent, and surprisingly funny. She tells me about Richard's pattern of affairs, his financial irresponsibility, his need to control and manipulate the women in his life. Emily wasn't his first employee, she says. There was Jessica before her, and Monica before Jessica. He has a type, ambitious young women who are impressed by his success and willing to overlook his character flaws. "Why didn't you leave sooner?" "Same reason you didn't. I kept thinking it would get better, that he'd change, that if I just tried harder, loved him more, he'd remember what we had." We start seeing each other, tentatively at first. Coffee dates, dinner, long conversations about rebuilding our lives after betrayal. Claire understands what I went through in a way that no one else can. She knows what it's like to be gaslighted, manipulated, made to feel crazy for noticing obvious lies. 6 months later, we're engaged. Emily hears about it through the social media grapevine and calls me, drunk and bitter. You're marrying his wife? That's sick, David. That's revenge, not love. No, Emily. Revenge was destroying your career and sending your boyfriend to prison. This is love, something you never understood. She's just using you to get back at Richard. Maybe, but at least she's honest about it. At least she respects me enough to tell me the truth instead of lying to my face for 6 months. You'll never be happy with her. You'll always be second choice, just like you were with me. The difference is, Claire chose to leave Richard. She chose to build a new life with someone who values her. You chose to stay with me while you shopped for my replacement. There's a big difference between being someone's second choice and being someone's better choice. Emily hangs up, and I never hear from her again. A year later, Claire and I are married in a small ceremony at Frank's gym, surrounded by people who actually care about us. Frank officiates. Jennifer is Claire's maid of honor. Mike Torres provides security to keep out unwanted guests. It's not the wedding I imagined when I married Emily, but it's honest, real, built on truth instead of performance. During the reception, Frank pulls me aside. You know what the difference is between a good fight and a bad fight? He asks. What? In a good fight, you're fighting for something. In a bad fight, you're fighting against something. You spent 5 years fighting against Emily's behavior, trying to save something that was already dead. Then you spent 6 months fighting for your dignity, your self-respect, your future. That's why you won. I didn't win, Frank. I just stopped losing. Same thing, son. Same thing. As I watch Claire laugh with our friends, I realize Frank is right. I didn't win because I destroyed Emily and Richard, though they certainly deserved what they got. I won because I finally stopped accepting unacceptable behavior. I stopped trying to love someone who saw that love as weakness. I won because I walked through the door Emily opened, and I kept walking until I found someone worth staying for. Tom Bradley shows up at the reception, uninvited but not unwelcome. He's been divorced for 6 months. Turns out his wife was having her own affair, inspired by Emily's example. I owe you an apology, he says. No, you don't. Yeah, I do. I thought you were being paranoid, jealous, unreasonable. I thought Emily was just being friendly, networking, building her career. I was wrong. You were loyal to your friend. I can't fault you for that. I wasn't loyal to my friend. I was loyal to my idea of what marriage should be. I thought you should just accept whatever Emily dished out, because that's what good husbands do. Turns out, good husbands don't enable bad wives. We shake hands, and just like that, I have my best friend back. The evening winds down with Claire and me slow dancing to an old song, surrounded by people who've seen us at our worst and chosen to love us anyway. It's not perfect, we're both damaged, both carrying scars from our previous marriages, but it's real. Any regrets? Claire asks as we sway to the music. About what? About how hard you hit them, about destroying their lives so completely. I think about it for a moment. Emily is working as a receptionist at a dental office, living with her parents, her dreams of architectural success long dead. Richard is in prison, broke and forgotten. Their affair, which seemed so passionate and important, lasted exactly as long as it took for the consequences to catch up with them. No regrets, I say finally. They made their choices. I just made sure they lived with them. Good, Claire says, pulling me closer, because I'm not done making them pay yet. I laugh, because Claire's sense of justice is even more ruthless than mine. Richard's parole hearing is coming up, and she's planning to testify about the damage his affairs caused to their marriage and their children. Emily applied for a job at a prestigious firm in Boston, and Claire made sure they knew about her history of sleeping with married bosses. We're not vindictive people by nature, but we're thorough. When someone destroys your life for their own selfish pleasure, you make sure they understand the full cost of that decision. I love you, I tell Claire, and I mean it in a way I never meant it with Emily. I love you too, she says, and I respect you, and I choose you, every day, over everyone else. Those words, respect, choose, are worth more than all of Emily's performances, all of her attention-seeking, all of her shallow charm. They're the foundation of a real marriage, built on truth instead of lies, on loyalty instead of betrayal. As we dance, I see Emily's sister Lisa watching from across the street, probably reporting back to Emily about my new life, my new wife, my obvious happiness. Let her look. Let Emily know that the man she called pathetic and desperate is thriving without her. Let her know that the door she opened led me to something better than anything we ever had. The song ends, and Claire kisses me as our friends cheer. It's not the ending I planned when I married Emily 5 years ago, but it's the ending I deserved. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's building a life so good that their absence becomes a gift instead of a loss. Emily wanted to know what life without me looked like. Now she knows. And I finally know what life without her looks like too. It looks like freedom. It looks like respect. It looks like love without performance, without games, without the constant fear that I'm not enough. It looks like everything I always wanted and was too afraid to demand. She said the door was open if I didn't like it, so I walked out. And I never looked back.